I know you think you're just being nice by being an easygoing, easy to get along with person. But what if I told you that some of the things that you're doing are actually sneaky forms of people pleasing? I recognize that I was doing a bunch of things to keep people in my life, to feel accepted and loved by them. But these things were chipping away at my confidence and my self-esteem. So I'm sharing 10 things with you today. The first thing that I used to do, I didn't recognize that I was doing it to stay in people's good graces, to feel accepted and to feel loved from the other person. But I actually recognize now that that's what it was all about. And that is covering up for people. Covering up for when they hurt me, when they didn't fulfill on their promises, when they broke promises and commitments. I would cover up for them and make excuses for why they would do that. And I would step in, I guess, try and protect someone from the consequences, because I would think, oh, they didn't mean it, or they've been under a lot of stress, or they have a lot going on in their life. And I would give them second chances. And it feels like the compassionate thing to do, but it's actually taking responsibility for someone else's behavior in order to avoid the discomfort or the hurt that I thought I would cause by telling them the truth. So that's number one. And the second one goes along with this, and this is giving endless second chances. You convince yourself that you're being nice, that you're being kind, that you're being understanding. Again, that they didn't mean it. But this is a people-pleasing behavior that comes from deep down thinking that speaking up is mean, or that we don't want to be seen as harsh or as not an understanding person. So we tolerate this hurtful behavior. The third one goes kind of along with the first two, but it has a little bit different nuance to it. And that is over-explaining someone's bad behavior, whether it's in your mind to yourself or to other people. Maybe saying, he didn't mean it that way, or she's just going through something. It's an unconscious attempt to keep the peace. So we become the peacekeepers. And it's also a way to avoid confronting the hard truth. And that might be that this person is not treating you respectfully, but we over-explain, again, to ourselves in our mind or to other people, why this other person did what they did. And we justify it. We think we're justifying it by explaining why they did what they did. The fourth people-pleasing behavior that is surprising is pretending that we don't notice when people cross the line. You might feel disrespected or hurt or frustrated or resentful, but you don't speak it. You pretend like that's not the way you feel. And a lot of that is based on conditioning from when we were young. We were told to put other people first, to make sure that they were happy. And as women in particular, we were taught to be the nurturers. And so pretending when someone crosses the line that it didn't actually happen comes from a lot of that conditioning. And this keeps the relationship, and this could be intimate, could be friends, this could be with family, a boss, a coworker. It doesn't matter the relationship, but this keeps the relationship comfortable. But it slowly teaches people that they can cross the line, that your boundaries are negotiable, and that when we don't respect ourselves, we can't expect other people to respect us either. The fifth people-pleasing habit, if you will, that I didn't recognize for a long time that I was doing and that was actually harmful to me was I was doing emotional labor for other people. Emotional labor that they should have been doing for themselves. I would protect them. I would, again, cover up for them. But this doesn't push them to take responsibility for their own emotions, because they know that they can get away with just playing small with you because you'll just take care of their emotional baggage for them. Maybe you process their anger for them, their guilt for them, and you cover up for them in order to not make them more uncomfortable. So you process their discomfort for them, and you do things to keep them comfortable by taking on their emotions, their discomfort. And again, we process things for others by not telling our truth, and we allow them to think, the other person to think, that what they said or did didn't impact us as much as it did. And by managing everyone else's emotions and feelings like this, but not managing your own, this can lead to burnout because you're constantly suppressing what you feel and think and need in order to keep them comfortable, to keep the other person happy. The sixth people-pleasing behavior that I didn't recognize, I just thought I was being nice, and that is to, I'm going to call it pre-apologize for things, saying, I hate to bother you, but, or this might sound silly, but, and then saying whatever it is you're going to say. But that apology is diminishing who you are, and it's a way to try to stay in other people's good graces by diminishing yourself, by putting them a little bit on a pedestal in order for them to feel, again, more comfortable in your presence. And this is self-minimizing, disguised as niceness, as politeness. But it's rooted in a fear of being judged for having needs and for speaking your truth. So that is the sixth people-pleasing habit that we have, is apologizing for ourselves. And I did another video on that. I'll link it right here. It's so important that you break this habit and know that it is coming from a fear of being judged for having needs. Number 7, this was a biggie for me. I was the ultimate chameleon. I would edit my personality to match who I was with, whatever group of friends I was with or individual I was with. I would morph myself to fit in order to be liked and accepted and approved of. And I dialed up or down parts of myself. I wouldn't swear in front of certain friends because I knew that they didn't like it and that they might not like me if I did, is what I thought. This isn't social awareness. This was an old survival strategy that I had in order to stay liked and accepted by other people. And the 8th people-pleasing thing that I did that I didn't realize was people-pleasing and was hurting me was taking pride in being low maintenance. I don't know how many times I bragged about not needing special treatment. I could eat anything. It didn't matter to me. I don't care what we do, right? I always prided myself on being low maintenance. But like in the movie, When Harry Met Sally, he says, you're the worst kind, because Sally asks what she is. And he said, you're the worst kind. You're the kind that thinks you're low maintenance, but actually is really high maintenance. And I relished in that it didn't matter to me, right? And that I was so easy to get along with. But this is super frustrating to other people, for you to not make a decision, for you to not have needs or wants or desires or preferences, because then it puts the whole load always on them, and they can't ever really figure out who you truly are because you don't express it. You just express that you're just easy to get along with. And again, this low maintenance thing is really a survival strategy, and it's code for I don't feel safe having needs. I think I'm not going to be accepted or loved by expressing my preferences and my needs. The 9th people-pleasing behavior that I recognized was people-pleasing, but I thought I was, again, just being nice or helpful, and that was always jumping in, volunteering for things, helping people out wherever it was needed, even if I didn't have the time or the energy, but I was always the one to jump in. I was the one that people came to help them with their problems, right? Their problems. And so, again, I would take on their emotional baggage, right, by helping them fix their problems. But I would help out in places where maybe I wasn't even asked. And maybe I didn't even want to, but it gave me a sense of worth and value. And helping like this, especially without being asked and kind of worming my way into other people's life, this becomes like an audition for love, for approval, for acceptance. So, number 9 is offering to help as a way to feel chosen or valued. Do you do this? Do any of these resonate with you? I would love for you to comment and share with me. Are any of these coming up as surprises to you? Or have you seen them as people pleasing in the past and harmful to you? And the 10th thing that I did that I didn't recognize was people pleasing, but it actually was avoiding praise or visibility. I played small in order to fit in and to be liked and to be accepted. Someone would give me a compliment and I would say, oh, anyone could do it, right? Or this old thing, just deflecting whatever came my way. And this was a way to keep others from feeling jealous or inferior around me. And it feels selfless, but it's actually rooted in a fear of standing out and triggering rejection. Those are 10 things that I recognized I was doing that are people pleasing and that I thought I was just being nice, but I was actually wanting to avoid rejection and disapproval and disappointing other people, hurting them. And so I morphed myself. I did these behaviors in order to avoid that and to fit in and to feel like I belonged. I used to think people pleasing was about saying yes too much, about not being able to say no. And now I know it's a lot more than that. It's about all the little ways that we abandon and sacrifice ourselves in order to feel liked and loved and accepted, to fit in, and ultimately to feel safe. And here's what I've learned. You don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to prove your worth. You already have it. And when you start living like that's true, everything changes. Hi, I'm Heidi, a mostly recovered people-pleasing, procrastinating perfectionist, and I'm here to help you break free from those chains as well. If you want help spotting your biggest blind spot, take my free Boundaries Blind Spot quiz. It'll show you where your energy is leaking and how to reclaim it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.